Alright, I'm gonna be real. Whatever happened to unlocking characters? Alright, I'm gonna take you back to the year 2003, and I think I was 8 years old at that time. The first game that I ever picked up on the console was the PlayStation, and the first game that I ever got after that was Dead or Alive 1. The first Dead or Alive game. I remember all the details. The music was impeccable. Every single polygon that existed was perfection. To me, it was peak content. This coming from the mind of a prepubescent 9-year-old. What I didn't realize is that when I played Dead or Alive was that in order to unlock extra costumes you needed to complete arcade mode. The boss Rosso was in fact an unlockable character, and at that time I didn't realize you were able to unlock him. One other character that caught my attention was Ayane, and Ayane was a very unique character because you had to beat her in a boss battle, but there were some very special requirements in addition to that. See, the first thing you had to do was there were 9 stages in Dead or Alive, and you needed to complete it within a certain time limit. And if you go underneath that time limit, you have the ability to unlock the secret stage, and that's where you get to fight Ayane in that level. The other problem was basically beating her. The level of difficulty to fight Ayane was actually a lot harder than it was to challenge Rosso, and I felt like that was an interesting feature that the game offered, because for one thing, I didn't know that it existed. But in the end, it made the reward feel worth it because of all the effort that was put and all the hours that it took to get to that. Tekken 5 was also another great example of this. When I first borrowed the game from my neighbor, I remember spending my entire summer playing the game religiously. What made the game worth playing was the fact that in order to unlock a new character, you had to play each character's story mode. Now, I liked this concept because it helped me to understand every single character's backstory and how each of them tie into the Tekken universe. Nowadays, you barely ever get to see an unlockable character for most fighting games. In fact, it's like they practically have them in. There's no grinding through story mode, no fighting characters, no requirement whatsoever. They're just there. This in itself loses its purpose for making the effort worth it. So what exactly happened? Microtransactions. According to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, microtransactions are defined as an online transaction involving a small amount of currency. This is especially the case in most video games. The term itself feels more like an oxymoron because of you've seen the prices for season packs. You'd be surprised to see the results. Season passes usually launch releases for new characters. So basically, in order to get a new character, you needed to shell out some money. I'm not even talking about the currency that you earn in games. I mean, I'm talking about real life money. You know, the ones that you usually pay with your debit card. Now, why do gaming companies do microtransactions? For one thing, companies looking to earn a profit because after a game is sold, that's all there is to it. When you include microtransactions in the picture, it gives an opportunity for game companies to create additional content that has not been included into the base game. By selling DLC characters, skins, and other content in the form of microtransactions, developers can continue to profit from the game so long after its release. Microtransactions have also provided players with the option to access additional content quickly and easily without having the need to complete certain in-game tasks in order to unlock characters. It also provides convenience as most players who are busy, especially if they have a job or family obligations. Being able to purchase a character makes it easier for players to try without having to grind. Game developers may design unlockable characters in a way that encourages players to spend money. For instance, unlocking characters through gameplay progression may be much more time-consuming or challenging. Hence, some people would opt to purchase characters as an easier alternative. As we continue into the modern age of gaming, players have already come to accept purchasing content as a norm for the gaming experience. The shift in player expectations have influenced how developers approach the distribution of unlockable characters and other content in games. It's almost as if there's an expectation for microtransactions to be added into the mix, which all in all is not a bad concept. As a business major, I can understand the innovative approach to adding content. However, while microtransactions are beneficial for video game companies, it does lose a lot of its touch with the gaming experience. With the ability to purchase characters, it gives certain players a competitive edge over others. For example, if one player buys a DLC, that means they have access to that character. They can use said character and train with them. That player can also use that opportunity to look for frame data and other movesets to see what they can do to counter that character. The other person challenging that player may not have that advantage because they may not be able to afford the character. This would then undermine the principles of fair competition and skill-based gameplay. But furthermore, having to buy a character can hinder the player base. The disadvantages that are found can lead to disparities in player abilities as well as experiences. In traditional gaming, unlocking characters through gameplay proved to be a testament of willpower and skill. This is because it helps give the feeling of accomplishment and progression. Having paywalls to purchase a character can diminish the satisfaction of earning them through pure skill and dedication. Locking characters behind paywalls can erode the integrity of the game and diminish player trust. Players may perceive such practices as exploitive or greedy on the part of the developers, leading to negative perceptions of the game and its creators. This can result in backlash from the gaming community and damage to the game's reputation. The other issue is that having to pay for extra characters is the fact that it detracts from the immersion of the game. This is especially the fact because it is integral to the story building and world building that video games tend to rely on. It loses that negative coherence, causing a major disconnect from the character and the game. A good example of this can be seen in Tekken 7. As much as I love the Tekken series, there's no additional storyline provided for the DLC characters. In fact, even legacy characters were not even given a light of day. A prime example of this would be Lei Wulong, and he has been a core character since Tekken 2. The fact that he was available as a DLC character really undermined his development to his character design. His outfit was much more different than his usual attire that he donned, and we didn't get a chance to understand why he got to be the way he is now. From what I see, it doesn't look like microtransactions will be disappearing anytime soon. I do believe that it can provide benefits for both the player and the developers. They can influence the availability as well as the accessibility. The negative impact for microtransactions on character unlockables in video games stem from their potential to introduce pay-to-win mechanics, degrade their player experience, diminish the player base, undermine game integrity, and detract from the immersive gaming experience. But you know, going forward, I do hope that future video games take into consideration the implications of microtransactions on gameplay and still strive to maintain a balance between monetization goals and player satisfaction. But quite honestly, that's just my 2 cents. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like what you say, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you, y'all, and peace out.